I'm of the school of thoughts that if a man and a woman in any ramification raises up their hands, for me, it's a no, no, no. I'm stepping out of that relationship.
As a lady or as a mother, I know the right thing to do. I know I'm not going to take this. Yes, it's either I sit with my husband, discuss with him. If this continues to go on like this, I'm definitely going to back out.
The problem is that men just do not talk as much as women talk. If you listen to what some men go through, some African men go through in America or in any of these Western countries, you'll be like,
yeah. There is a lot of stress people are going through. So yes, you should speak out, but who are you speaking to? Speak to the right. And this is America. There is a lot of help available, but African families, we shy away from it because even back home, we don't make use of therapy. But therapy is very helpful.
We've limited men to providers. Once a man provides, we believe he has no other obligations or duties towards his family. And that's what men would say. Oh, you see a man would come back from work, he would put his legs on the table expecting to be served. It takes a two-parents household for any household to thrive in America.
So I feel that it is wickedness for you to, we are both working.
Yeah.
And then you keep all your money to yourself. And then you sometimes women will even make much more money.
Honestly, sometimes we do.
Yeah.
I feel like we are limiting domestic violence to just the physical abuse, forgetting that we have emotional abuse, we have spouses that are financially abusive, and we have those who are also sexual. There's a lot of sexual violence against women. Now, emotional
against,
it's not until against either man or woman.
Okay, I wanted to correct that.
Do we break the silence, or do we make private matters private in order to keep the peace?
I feel there are levels to these things. I'm not in support of domestic violence in any way. I'm of the opinion of you speaking up. But then you speaking up also now is something that you should not just come out and say, oh, this person, my spouse is beating me and all like that. Follow due process. If there's a husband and wife having misunderstanding and it leads to the domestic violence, what is needed to be done? If you guys are going your separate ways, you don't have to come to social media and start ranting about it. There are times that two people disagree and they decide that, oh, we want to go our separate ways. You can do it amicably, that there will not be brouhaha on the social media and everybody is asking what is going on and all like that. So I am of the opinion that don't keep quiet, but you should not also be all over the social media space shouting about, oh, my husband beats me, my wife slapped me and all like that. So that's my take on it.
I want to add to what he just said. I'm also of the opinion that you should speak out. Yes, speak out. But when speaking out, you don't have to speak out on social media and waiting for people to actually live your life for you, or waiting for people to give you an opinion of how to rule your life. Some people are facing domestic violence, yes, but majorly they are not even ruling their own. They wait on families and friends, they wait on their followers, in court to decide what they want to do in their home. I'm experiencing domestic violence as an example. I'm just using myself as an example. As a lady or as a mother, I know the right thing to do. I know I'm not going to take this. Yes, it's either I sit with my husband, discuss with him. If this continues to go on like this, I'm definitely going to back out. Reason, I love myself. Yes, I love my kids. Some people will tell you they are staying in their home probably because of their kids. No. The kids have their life to live. I freaking have my life to live. So if you are going to be beating me or you are going to be doing whatever to me, all because I'm in your house or I have my kids, and then I want to always be there for my kids, it's never going to work. I am definitely working out. When it comes to domestic violence, no going back. I'm speaking out for myself, not on social media. Yes, I'm going to treat whatever myself in my own way, but I'm not going to wait for people to actually poke their mouths or in my own relationship. And definitely, that's why as a mother, you have to face your hustle. If you know that you can take care of 2 kids, 3 kids, please increase your hustle and make sure that even in future or whenever anything happens, you will be able to fend for your kids. Because mostly in most marriages, some women wants to back out, but because they're always like, where would I start from? How would I take care of these kids? Nobody would help me. And in diaspora where we know everybody on his own. Nobody cares. Even the people that show that they care, most time is for what they are going to benefit from you. So you have to own your shit. I'm sorry, I'm using that word. You have to own you know what I mean? Yeah. So just give back to whatever you can take care of. So whenever anything happens, you know that I own my thing and you can decide.
My take about this is it's straight. Domestic violence is evil. It's a societal evil and should never be condoned in any case, anywhere, in any part of the world, be it diaspora, be it in Africa. Now, this is the perspective I'm coming from today. In the first place, why should a man or a woman raise their hands against their spouse? That means a lot of things would have bottled up. A lot of things would have happened before that will come to play. Nobody is a madman. Nobody is a madwoman. And we just get into the house and we raise their hands. Something would have ensued. Something would have instigated that. However, I'm of the school of thoughts that if a man and a woman in any ramification raises up their hands, for me, it's a no, no, no. I'm stepping out of that relationship. I'm stepping out of that marriage. I was raised in a family where love was all that matters. I never saw my father touch my mom. I never saw my mom retaliate. So part of what I'm passing on to my children is that even in a relationship, when you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, if that boy raises his hand, it's a red flag. A man that raises his hands today would bring out a belt tomorrow. A man that raises a belt tomorrow will bring out a cutlass next tomorrow, and on until he brings out a gun. So the best thing is stay safe. If this ensues and comes up in any part of the world, please say something.
I would just add that, just as you said, like, domestic violence doesn't start in one day.
Yes.
So probably things have been going on. And for people in the diaspora, I think that even as Africans coming from Nigeria or whatever they're coming from, Africans do not make use of therapy. I feel like here, a lot of us need therapy. A lot of men need therapy, a lot of women need therapy. So when you say speak out to who? Sometimes some people, when they have problems, they are home, they speak out to the pastor. Even the pastor sometimes that is trying to mediate is not really the expert. I'm a psychology student, so, I love to tell people that, Africans should really explore the help that is provided in therapy and family counseling.
Okay.
Most of the time when we have problems in our marriages, sometimes the women will, suggest therapy. The men don't want to go to therapy because men don't want anybody in their business that can handle my home. This is my home. So before violence ensues in any home, there are things that have been going wrong that we're not paying attention to. Sometimes it's just because somebody is stressed. They are bogged down, by things happening back in Nigeria or happening here. Many people came from good lives in Nigeria. They come here, they start to do these jobs they don't expect that they could ever do in their life.
True.
And then they are battling with, trying to pay rent, trying to pay bills, trying to take care of this, immigration issues. Immigration issues is even big.
They get stressed out.
There is a lot of stress people are going through. So yes, you should speak out, but who are you speaking to? Speak to the right. And this is America. There is a lot of help available, but African families, we shy away from it because even back home, we don't make use of therapy. But therapy is very helpful. It's very helpful. We should speak to a family counselor, speak to a therapist, people who are experts, who can talk to you like, what is going on? why are you hitting? Because before you start to hit, you must have said a curse word to that wife or husband.
Sure.
You have said, oh, something is wrong with your head, you're stupid, you're mad, this. And then it escalates. So I think that we should make use of therapy in our homes right from, something is going wrong. If you have this husband or this wife that you can't talk to, or they just don't seem to want to listen, let's go to therapy. Let's try to go to therapy. Because again, I was going to bring up the issue of, okay, fine, there's domestic violence. He hit me, he slapped me. Okay, what if I'm the one doing his papers? Or what if she's the one doing my papers and you want to go report? Because if you go report back home, they're going to be like, oh, you spoiled the whole thing. Because I've seen people here who are married and, they are trying to get themselves settled, and maybe one person has the green card or the citizenship and the other person doesn't, and then there's an issue, and then they go to the police, and that could really wreck you.
Yes.
So I think that we should always talk therapy. It's very important for African families. We should go to therapy. We don't have to wait until it escalates to somebody slapping somebody or hitting somebody. We need it. Even for our own health, we need therapy.
I feel like we are limiting domestic violence to just the physical abuse, forgetting that we have emotional abuse, we have spouses that are financially abusive, and we have those who are also sexual. There's a lot of sexual violence against women. Now, emotional
Against-
it's not against either man or woman.
Okay. I wanted to correct that. I wanted to correct that.
Violence in
Yeah.
any shape or form is not
Okay.
gender specific.
Okay. All right.
So now, when it comes to emotional abuse, we have a lot of narcissistic people that are walking around. They are manipulative. Someone might offend you, and then you don't talk to them. In this, the way the way it is set up, the society, our social interaction is set up in America is, if you're not talking to the person living in the same roof with you, you are not even friendly with your neighbors. So you're limited to that person in the same house with you.
Okay.
So imagine having an argument with a spouse and they decide to cut you off and they don't talk to you. And then that kind of, the relationship degenerates into people keeping malice. You're in the same house, you don't speak, you maintain separate rooms, you maintain different lifestyle. Now, financial abuse too is part of it. So it's not until, what I'm saying is, it's not until a man or woman raises their hand against the other person or assaults them physically that we escalate it to the level of domestic violence. Domestic violence marks sometimes are not visible. You just see someone, you just say, hey, how are you? And they start crying. You don't know why they're crying. Financial abuse, some will say, oh, I want you to stay at home with the kids. I want you to be a stay-home mom. Take care of them, nurture them. Yet they don't have access to the finances. They want to buy underwear. They want to buy sanitary towel. They want to buy snacks to eat. They have to come to you. You're subjecting all of the control to yourself. So, again, that is not physical. And when we only talk about physical part of it, and we don't talk about the other part, like she said, those ones where you have to speak up to people, they will say, if you tell your parents or family members at home, they will ask you, oh, maybe this person is a provider, like we all aspire. Most women aspire to be with, even men these days. Someone who provides. They will ask you, does he buy food in the house? Yes. Does he pay the children's school fees? Yes. But you guys went on vacation last week. Yes, but they do not understand the emotional isolation going on at home. We as people, we rely on one another emotionally. We are humans, we are social beings. When why people that they lock up in isolation in cells, why do you think they go crazy in a matter of months? So it is not, in fact, physical wounds would heal. But those
the
ones
emotional ones
that are not visible to the eyes, they are even worse. And now I feel like we need to break that thing. We're talking about audiences and we are limiting it to social media also. It is not just social media. If you go to social media to seek help, there was a time that I think then I was confused. I was trying to get my daughter into the US and I was confused on what next to do. I thought I had exhausted all of my resources and everything I could do. I just went live. I was crying. Like, does anybody know what I can do? I got like 5 DMs saying, hey, talk to your congressman. Do this, do that. It was, I didn't know who else to talk to in that space. I felt there were other people in the same shoes as me and social media would connect us. When you get on social media, you're getting help from someone you don't even, for somebody like me, I am as a lawyer in Nigeria, part of my pro bono work was representing women in courts, especially those ones who are victims of domestic violence. And at some point in my life's journey, I have also been subjected to it. And to my earlier point about resorting to social media to get help, it's not necessarily about chasing clout. You're looking for resources to help you. You're looking for somebody who might have been in your shoes that might be able to help, and also to hold the other person accountable. So that if something were to happen to you, people would be able to say, okay, the husband of Lagbaja came online to say something. Where is she? We haven't seen her. Or where is he? We haven't seen her. So again, these days, clout is a poison. It kills even good intentions. And I can understand why we would say don't go to social media, but help is not, again, not just social media could be it's an audience, but there are other ways too we can actually seek help, like we're all saying earlier.
Yeah, so I also feel that we need to understand, Africans in diaspora need to understand that conflict management is really a serious thing that we should hold on to, because most of the things that causes this domestic violence, they're actually things that can be sorted if two people decide to sit down and iron things out. That's one. Then two, we should also understand that this domestic violence, as much as we get to see more of it, that, oh, it's the man that is doing it to the woman. There are a lot of, the problem is that men just do not talk as much as women talk. If you listen to what some men go through, some African men go through in America or in any of these Western countries, you'll be like, you would never wish your brother, you as a woman, would never wish your brother was in that situation. Yeah, not even physical right now. You were talking about papers or no papers. Imagine if it is the wife that has papers and she's the one filing for the husband.
It's vice versa.
There are people that will tell you that if she will tell you not to go out at any point in time. Oh, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot talk to this person, you cannot talk to that. And because men do not talk, everybody just feel that, it's all rosy, it's all right. She made a point where she talked about you can also talk to other people and then you come to social media. I personally feel that a lot of us some people use social media for good reasons. Like what she said, that when she was looking for something for her daughter. But I tell you that categorically, most people come to social media for public sympathy, even though they know that they are wrong. Yeah. Let me give it an example. There was this guy that the lady put up a video to show what was happening in the house. And what happened? Their son plaits hair. The son is just 4 or 5 years old. And then the school said the son cannot come to school without cutting the hair anymore. And the lady came home to tell the husband, and the husband said, I will go to the school to talk to them about it. Guess what happened? She let the husband go to work, and she took the son to barber and cut the hair behind him. And then the man came home and was asking, so she went to set a camera to show the husband's reaction. I told you that I will go to the school to talk to them about. Let me even go to the school first. And then the lady started shouting. I started recording. I believe she did that purposely, not because of anything, but to show the audience, the social media, to support her that what she did was. But the question is, what she did, was it right or wrong? If both of you own a child, get back to a child.
That's communication.
You should have communication. Yeah. Now, if, like, for instance, the guy is a hot-tempered person and probably maybe it's at that point in time, nobody will think about the case of, oh, don't cut the hair, don't cut. They will say, oh, there was a domestic violence or something that actually triggered it at that time. Yeah. So we need to understand that, and now that we are in another man's country, we have some laws that support some kind of people, and they sit on top of that. They sit on top of that because if you
let me just chip this in. Let me just chip this in, right? I heard us also talk about financial violence, and I wanted to just poke the bear a bit in a situation or a scenario where when this couple were in Africa, the man was in charge of everything. He was fending for the family 250%, you know what I'm saying, to the latter. And they get into the United States. And not that he still wants to be in charge of everything, but everything that they ever owned was owned by the man. And they come here and suddenly the woman realizes that she has a right.
And it's another
She's
different
always had
ballgame.
a right.
So I'm going somewhere, right? I'm not saying she doesn't have a right, but it becomes, I'm going back to what she's saying about a woman, financial abuse. If the way they manage their resources in Nigeria, they get here, they're not able to manage it. I mean, they still try to manage it that way. Is that a financial abuse to her? Because when they were in Nigeria, the man called the shots. He bought everything. When I mean 250, not 100%, 250%. What do you say about that? Above and beyond. What do you say about that? Would you call that? Yes.
Because we've limited men to providers. Once a man provides, we believe he has no other obligations or duties towards his family. And that's what men would say. Oh, you see a man would come back from work, he would put his legs on the table expecting to be served. The children are running around. They are disturbing the woman who is cooking. You're not even trying to make sure that this person cooking in peace, let her cook. It is the same mother that will go to and say, Mommy, I want to do this. Mommy, I want to do that. But the man is just here watching maybe Arsenal versus Man U or something because he has gone to work to hustle and he has given you money to go to the market. You feel that is the end of your responsibilities. Unlike when you come here, it is not possible. It takes a two-parents household for any household to thrive in America. You can't just come back from work and put your legs on the table. While your wife has also done the same thing. Maybe she has even done 2 shifts and she's coming back the following morning. She needs sleep while you take over and take care of the children. Because there is nobody implementing. Women have rights everywhere.
While I don't want us to digress from the point. Okay, let me.
Then also, I just want to address something real quick. That you said you can talk it out. Have you seen serial killers? Their first instinct is to always kill. There are some things that are maybe disconnected in some men's head that you can't sit down and talk anything else with them.
But it
All they know how to do
it doesn't start immediately.
It does. You might say, I don't know what your...
Except you don't know who you married. Except you didn't do your
due diligence.
Your background check.
Yeah.
You don't just... Except maybe you just saw money and you jump into it.
You are married to a man. You already know who you are married to.
Exactly.
Even if you are in Nigeria or you are in America, a lot of things they are not applicable here. Let me put... Even if you are in Nigeria and you are cooking, your husband is watching football. Girl, it still happens here. When I'm in the kitchen, my husband is still watching football, or he's playing soccer, But the kids will not disturb me, and he will have to take care of the kids for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I might want to do something very little, and I'm like, guy, come and help me now. I need your help here. He will go back to his game. It's still like that in Nigeria. That has to do with communication. You already know who you are.
Who you're married to.
Yeah.
Time reveals people.
Can I just
The situation might be rosy. There are times when the men change. People change, not just men. If you lose your job,
I like the way you corrected that.
Yeah, exactly. People change.
If somebody loses their jobs today,
Yeah.
it puts them in a total mindset. You might become more aggressive. If you've had a bad day, you might become, that level of aggression might rise. And there are some things would happen that men, they internalize a lot. Or like women, you can call up your mother or your sister and say, this is why you've poured your heart out to somebody. Somebody has told you, oh, calm down. But for a man, sometimes it builds up until they burst. And if that person is now under a different situation, like losing his job, or he doesn't give you as much as I used to, or he doesn't provide as much as he used to, there will be some other outlets. And that woman might just be the subject of the outlets.
I've also seen here from the work that I do now that a lot of men complain that even here in America, some women expect them, even though they are making money too, but they as the men still have to pay the entire bill for the house. That is one kind of abuse. You're talking about financial abuse. You're talking about men being abused.
Yeah.
I think that maybe if you can say that being inconsiderate and unreasonable is abuse, yes, that is the type of abuse. Because if a man, just because he's a man and because he's the husband, he has to pay all the bills, the rent, everything, and you just have to spend your money
by yourself.
And that is why some of them would have to do extra jobs, like drive Uber, do this, on top of, they can't even rest.
So you wouldn't blame them. You wouldn't blame them when they come back home and then they just sit down because they are worn out.
Yeah.
Now, so we need to understand. That's why Africans in diaspora need to understand that we need to be a pair of team.
Yeah.
Correct.
Working together to make
Correct.
this work.
Yeah.
So imagine for a lady that will tell you that because you are a man. Now, this man being a provider came from Africa. You brought it to Africa, but then you want to use Western law to
bind that man.
To bind the man. The being a provider came from Africa. But then, because we are in Western world, I cannot do this, I cannot take this. You are now bringing Western world to counter the African heritage that we brought. So I feel that it is wickedness for you to, we are both working.
Yeah.
And then you keep all your money to yourself. And then sometimes women will even make much more money.
Honestly, sometimes we do.
Yeah, most time actually.
No, not most time. I don't
Madam,
say most time.
most time, depending on
It's just how women are built.
depending on what you are doing.
Yeah.
But most time, there's even a report like that most women, especially those in health, in IT, they are actually making more money than men. So now imagine if you are making almost times 2 of your husband's money and you are telling him that my money is still my money. I will not spend a dime in the family that we are both raising in America.
There's another abuse that I want us to talk about.
Okay.
That is a form of violence.
Yeah.
That is sexual deprivation. Because that is even a ground for you to file for divorce or anything. Yeah. So if you have a spouse who deprives you of, sexual intercourse for a particular, I mean, some women.
What if you have one that is always doing everything?
Yeah, there's also, in fact, somebody told me today that she has a friend who just had a surgery.
Okay.
And like the day she came back from the hospital for the surgery, her husband said he wanted to make out. And he was like, if I can't come through the front, I can come through the back. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
So how do we handle that? How do you speak out? Who do you speak to? If you are in that kind of situation.
On a serious note, in that kind of situation, I'm sorry, you have to communicate with him.
Okay,
you have to sit him down. Exactly, because
you've explained to him.
So we just go back to the therapy thing.
Exactly. I think that therapy is very important.
If you go online, there are resources.
Yes.
Your husband might be very understanding and is somebody who is easy to talk to. But that accounts for what ratio in the society? Do you know a number of people who are married to men that they can't even sit down and discuss simple matters with? So if you're talking with somebody whose intellect, whose brain, everything working, your medulla, your frontal lobes, everywhere is working as it should, yes, you can have a conversation with them and they would be reasonable. But if you're talking with someone who is a narcissist, there is no middle ground. So it's either their way or the highway. Yeah. Then I want us to also understand that you were talking about social media. I just want to go back there. As an African woman, would rather die than go on social media to say that my husband is beating me.
Things are changing now. You know that.
Those were gone were the days. Things have changed. Actually, yeah. There are awareness now. So there's so many awareness. So many. No.
My big ring. My this, my that. Our palatial kingdom that you are saying that actually is a lie. My husband. They would rather die before they speak up. And this is couched in our cultural norms, where your mother would say,
but to be frank, like you said, things are changing.
Things are changing now.
Right,
see, Dami,
things are changing.
We are in an era where anything happens, even if a rat walks down like this, it goes on social media.
Yes.
We are in that era right now that anything whatsoever, because people feel that, they must hear. And the fact that people know that when you get more audience, sometimes you can get money from it.
And they always want to create content with anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To conclusively say, if there is anybody suffering from any form of domestic violence, in whatever shape it might be, there are also some. We're talking about injuries that are not visible to the eyes. There is this hormone in the brain that is supplied from the brain, I think. It's called cortisol. And it puts you in that constant state of wanting to defend yourself. So when your cortisol levels keep rising, your blood pressure is rising, your blood sugar is rising.
Yeah.
This would give room to a lot of other ailments. And it just starts from maybe the red flags of, my husband is coming, or my wife is coming, or what am I going to do? It might not even be physically abusive towards you. So beyond what everybody would say, you're also putting yourself at the risk of developing a whole lot of ailments, lifelong diseases that you need to really, really speak up about. And if you go online, I think you can see 1-800 national violence or national something. There are a lot of resources, even in Indiana. You can live where you are. It's not easy to live, but you need to live in order to live with your kids. There are resources. They can give you emergency housing and shelter. They can help you get food. They can help you apply for jobs. They can help with trainings. So your life does not end with your spouse. If they are being abusive, you have a long life ahead of you. And I'm sure you're a very good looking person. You're going to be happy and survive.
Yeah, and let me emphasize on what she said about seeing a therapist. It's another way to actually speak out. Like some of us, we don't like to talk about our personal issues to people.
Yeah.
You won't find me doing it. So maybe if I find myself in that kind of situation, maybe I'll be talking to a therapist. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to understand that the first thing we should do when we find ourselves in issues like this is communicating with one another, because there are things that you can really solve with communication.
Just
That
talking
it doesn't
about it.
need to get to the third person.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you see that didn't work, then there are also some people that you know that in your spouse's life that they are responsible to.
Yeah.
That you know that if this person they respect, if this person talk to this person, he or she will listen.
Yeah.
You can explore that too. Sometimes it can be spiritual person, maybe your spiritual father, in
pastor.
any of the religion.
Yeah.
You can talk to them. If not, if you are someone like JMK that does not like talking, then you can now go to somebody that is totally neutral. Which is a licensed therapist. Like, okay, this is what is going on. What do you think? And what I would also say is we should make sure that we try every available option before we decide to cut it quits.
Yeah.
Try every, except if you do not love the person right from time.
Yeah.
But if you say that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, there are times that issues will rise one way or the other. Use all the available options
Like
to.
beating them.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I'm gonna just add to what you said.
Okay.
I have seen
Tolerance,
marriages where I have seen marriages and where I have also intervened where they were actually hitting themselves, and after the public shaming of the man, because like he was hidden, but the moment he came to light, he corrected himself. So sometimes public shaming in the sense of talking to somebody, letting your neighbors know or whoever know, like this is what I'm going through, can make people correct their behavior. And yes, holding them accountable. But most importantly, I think that people should get help. Some of us have problems coming from home, mental issues. We do not know it, but we are acting it out.
Yeah.
So we need to get help.
All right. So conclusively, I think one of also the best way to, I mean, my colleagues here have said a lot. Just talk to each other. Have the understanding, right? Communication. Then, above all, find a good time out with your wife or your spouse. Take her out. I mean, over the weekends, just leave the kids at home. Go on a 2 days vacation. Have fun. I'm telling you, some of these things, there can be no better therapy than being alone and talking about stuff.
That's true, because the way people work in diaspora is something else.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Sometimes it gets to their side.
I'm telling you.
They're exhausted, they're tired,